I don't know where to start with this, so I guess I'll just dive in. I'm 29, and I've been carrying this weight for months now, and it's eating me alive. I need to get it out somewhere, anywhere, because I can't talk to my friends about it. They wouldn't get it, and I can't afford therapy right now. So here I am, spilling my guts to strangers on the internet. Bear with me. This is a long one. 2 years ago, my parents hit rock bottom. They'd always been the kind of people who worked hard, kept their heads down, and didn't ask for handouts. Dad was a mechanic for 30 years. Mom worked retail, and later as a receptionist at a dental office. They weren't rich, but they gave me and my sister a decent life growing up in a small town in Ohio. We had a 3-bedroom house, a scrappy backyard where I'd kick a soccer ball around, and Christmases with too many presents under the tree. They weren't perfect. Dad could be a stubborn ass, and Mom had a knack for passive-aggressive guilt trips, but they were my parents, you know? Then the pandemic hit. Dad's shop took a nosedive because people weren't driving as much, and Mom got laid off when the dental office cut staff. They were in their late 50s, too young to retire, but too old to bounce back easily. I was living in Chicago at the time, working as a graphic designer for a mid-sized marketing firm. I'd been freelancing on the side, saving up for a down payment on a condo. I wasn't rolling in cash, but I was doing okay, $65K a year, plus another $10 to $15K from freelance gigs. I had about $22,000 saved up, which felt like a fortune to me. When Mom called me in tears one night in early 2021, I knew something was wrong. She didn't cry often, and when she did, it was serious. She told me they were behind on their mortgage, 6 months behind, and the bank was threatening foreclosure. They'd taken out a second mortgage years ago to help my sister through college, and with their reduced income, they couldn't keep up. Dad was too proud to admit it, but Mom said they were drowning. The house they'd lived in for 25 years, the one with the creaky stairs and the kitchen table where we'd had every Thanksgiving, was slipping away. I didn't think twice. I told Mom I'd help. I wired them $15,000 that week, nearly wiping out my savings. I kept a little back for emergencies, but it was basically everything I had. They were so grateful, Mom crying again, Dad grumbling a thank you over the phone like it physically hurt him to say it. I figured that was it. I'd help them get back on their feet, and they'd figure out the rest. I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't exactly right either. A few months later, Mom called again. The $15,000 had bought them time, but they were still struggling. Dad had picked up some part-time work, but it wasn't enough, and Mom's new job at a grocery store paid barely above minimum wage. They needed another $7,000 to catch up completely and avoid foreclosure. I didn't have that kind of money anymore, but I couldn't just let their house go. That house was everything to them, to us. So I started taking on more freelance work, pulling all-nighters after my day job, churning out logos and website mock-ups for clients who paid late half the time. I racked up some credit card debt, skipped meals out, canceled my gym membership, whatever it took. By the end of 2021, I sent them the $7,000. My savings were gone, my credit card was maxed out, and I was eating ramen 3 nights a week, but I told myself it was worth it. They kept the house. Fast forward to last year. Things seemed to stabilize for them. Dad got a job at a new shop, not great pay, but steady. Mom was still at the grocery store, but picking up extra shifts. I was starting to rebuild my savings, bit by bit, though the credit card debt was a slow bleed. I didn't tell them how much I'd sacrificed because I didn't want them to feel worse. They knew I'd given them a lot, but I downplayed it. Said I was fine. No big deal. I visited them a couple of times, and it felt like old times. Mom making her famous meatloaf, Dad cracking bad jokes about my fancy city job. I thought we were past the worst of it. Then Easter happened. We always do Easter at their place. It's a tradition. Mom goes overboard with a big brunch. Dad hides plastic eggs in the backyard even though me and my sister are way too old for it. This year, my sister Lauren came with her fiancé Mike. I drove down from Chicago, happy to see everyone, even if I was exhausted from work. The vibe was off from the start. Dad was quieter than usual, drinking more than his usual 1 or 2 beers. Mom kept fussing over the food like she was nervous. Lauren and Mike were their usual selves, all lovey-dovey, talking about their wedding plans. Dinner was fine at first, but then Dad started asking me about work. I mentioned I was still freelancing on the side to pay off some debt, and he got this look on his face, like he was chewing on something sour. I tried to change the subject, but he kept pushing, asking how much I was making, why I hadn't bought a place yet, stuff like that. It felt weirdly aggressive, but I brushed it off. Then, out of nowhere, he says, "You know, you're not exactly setting the world on fire, kid. You gave us all that money, and what do you got to show for it? Nothing." I was stunned. Like, what? I laughed it off, thinking he was joking, but he doubled down. "You think you're some big hero swooping in to save us, but you're just a kid who can't get his own life together. You're almost 30, and you're still renting some shoebox in Chicago, eating off paper plates." Mom tried to shush him, but he was on a roll. Lauren looked mortified, and Mike just stared at his plate. I felt my face get hot, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I said something like, "I was just trying to help you guys out." That's when he snapped. He slammed his hand on the table, making the glasses rattle, and said, "You think we asked for your charity? You think we wanted to be in debt to our own son? You're not our son anymore, throwing that in our faces." The room went dead silent. Mom started crying, Lauren grabbed my arm, and Mike mumbled something about getting more wine. I just sat there, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. Not his son? After everything I'd done? I didn't even know how to respond. I got up, grabbed my keys, and left. Mom followed me to the car, begging me to stay, saying Dad didn't mean it. He was just drunk and stressed. I told her I needed space and drove back to Chicago that night. It's been 6 months, and I haven't talked to Dad since. Mom calls sometimes, but it's awkward. She keeps trying to mediate, saying Dad feels guilty but is too stubborn to apologize. Lauren says he's been a mess, drinking more, snapping at everyone. I don't know what to feel. Part of me is furious. How dare he say that after I gave them everything I had? Part of me feels guilty, like maybe I made them feel small by helping, but mostly I'm just hurt. I keep replaying his words in my head, and it's like a knife every time. I'm trying to move on, but it's hard. I see posts on here about family drama, and I wonder if I'm overreacting. Should I reach out to Dad? Wait for him to apologize? Or just let it go and focus on my own life? I don't even know what I want anymore. I just know I can't keep carrying this. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for reading. I don't know what I expect from posting this, but it feels good to get it out. Maybe someone's been through something similar and can tell me how to navigate this mess. TLDR. I gave my parents all my savings to save their house from foreclosure. At Easter, my dad got drunk and said I'm not his son anymore because I threw it in their faces. Haven't talked to him since, and I'm torn between anger, guilt, and hurt. What do I do?